What's your favorite scary movie?
They mostly come at night. Mostly.
Welcome to my world, bitch. Your suffering will be legendary, even in hell.
They're here.
Welcome, victims, to the Horr-Gasm podcast. Kill the lights, lock the doors, get comfy, and prepare for the sexiest and scariest podcast around. I'm Nick, and with me is my co-host, Allie.
Ooh.
Spooky spooks.
That's spooky scary. Oh my god.
Halloween is knocking at our door.
She is tip-tapping on the windows. I'm so ready. I love spoopy season.
This is, excited. I see people are, for October,
Yes.
they make lists to watch a horror movie every day.
Interesting.
Yes, if people do
That's
that.
a lot of commitment.
It is.
I always wonder people who do that. Like, do they have jobs? Do they have kids? Do they go to school? Like,
Who cares? We're watching horror movies. It's awesome.
I just I find it hard to commit like a whole 2 hours of a day, to watching a movie. I don't know. It's just seems like a lot. I don't know. Oh my gosh.
Oh no. The adulting is taking over.
Think of all the time for activities. Well, it's the middle of the week right now, and I got home late, and then we watched the movie, and now again, it's the middle of the week, and it's 10:30, and we just started recording.
No, whatever.
I know, and it's just but I'm just get so excited. So it's I didn't even realize, and we're just yip-yapping away, looking at our, movies that we're watching in the future, getting excited, and I'm it's 10 p.m. You're just kind of riding that horror movie high, and you forget sort of about time, because it's, we live in the prairies, so it gets dark super early right now, so it's been dark literally since I got home, and so I just have no concept of time, because, adults.
Yes, adults.
Woohoo.
Yeah, our executive producer is already sleeping next to me.
She sleeps through 90% of these, let's be honest.
Yeah, that's true.
Some people's executive producers.
I know, but I think while we're gone, and I think she watches them beforehand.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
She seems to have a really good grasp on them, so.
Oh, totally.
Oh, gosh. We had a good week this week watching this movie. This was a good one.
This was.
Hey, kind of fun and action-y.
It was, yeah. It's, when it comes to, killer robots, you can't really have more of a psychological thriller. You gotta have the robots and the shooting and bleep, bloop, bleep.
I was going to say beep, boop, boop, beep. There was lots of subtitles. We always watch in subtitles because I'm broken. And the subtitles, a lot of them this week were chittering in brackets.
Whimpering.
Yeah.
Russian.
Yeah.
Just...
But when I think of a killer robot movie, this is exactly what I think of. 100%.
Yeah.
Robots becoming sentient, and even though it's some sort of, spoiler alert, some sort of spacey thing, I'm still not 100% sure. There was a lot of abbreviations and big jargon and talking, and I was ooh, I'm just going to imagine that the machines became sentient and started beep, boop, 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 kill, kill, kill. But this is exactly it. They're talking through computers, and they're taking people and making them into robots, and
it's
angry
explained,
red eyes.
They kind of explained it as no body, just an electrical being.
Yes.
That kind of took over a space station and got beamed to Earth.
Yes.
And it's okay, I need a body.
Yeah, yes.
And I need spare parts.
Yes.
So.
Which is human.
And it's too bad how this movie did not do very well at the box.
Interesting.
It didn't
really?
even, I think it didn't make half of its
budget.
Yeah, it was a critical commercial flop. The budget $75 million. It made 30.7.
Oof.
Yeah. Sadly, Jamie Lee Curtis claimed this is her worst movie she's ever made.
Really?
Yes.
And I enjoyed it. It was very akin to the movie we watched last week, I find. They were both could have existed in the same universe to me, honestly. And maybe it's just because 90s, but the special effects in this was pretty good, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I really
So,
enjoyed it.
A quote to an IGN interview, Curtis had the following to say about Virus.
Oh, no.
That would be the all-time piece of shit. It's just dreadful.
Oh.
That's the only good reason to be in bad movies. Then when your friends have bad movies, you can say, I've got the best one. I'm bringing Virus.
Oh, no.
And that's too. It has become a cult following.
Of course.
I think I get it. I get where she's coming from.
Yes.
But it's not the worst movie out there.
I
Not
was
even
going to say,
close.
I've seen a lot worse.
Yeah.
Like, I would sit through this 10 times before I'd watch that horrible truck one again. That Stephen King one.
Oh, Maximum Overdrive?
Yes.
Really?
I would sit through this 10 times in a row before one more Maximum. I could not do that movie again. That was a tough one.
It's got Emilio. Emilio!
Yeah, that one was painful. Like, I felt myself, like, watching that movie. I could feel myself, like, disassociating.
Oh, no.
And becoming, like, being up here somewhere. And then, like, oh, no, I have to talk about this after. And, like, going back into my body. Oh, like, when I think, especially, like, because we're gonna hit our 1 year mark here pretty quick.
Very
just
quick.
the amount of movies we've watched, I just feel like I have a pretty good grasp on horror movies at this point, especially because I still watch them in my personal life as well, like outside of
Oh, I do too.
outside of the podcast. But it just, yeah, that one always sticks out to me as, like, if I were to think of a movie that just did not do it for me, that is the one.
I think for me it would be My Bloody Valentine.
Really?
don't-
I forgot about that. I was just like, which one even was that? Which, not a good sign.
That was the horrible minor one.
That one was
Made
rough.
no sense.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Man, we've watched some doozies.
And there's some new ones coming out that I'm excited to watch and review.
Okay.
Like Alive.
Oh, yeah. I made you watch that trailer. I texted you about it.
Yes.
I was like, hey, because I was on TikTok, which is, like, all that I do with my life. And people were saying that it was, like, very similar to Train to Busan. But the pacing was so much better.
Oh, good.
And the characters weren't as flawed as they were in Train to Busan, which I think kind of actually makes that movie a bit better.
Yeah.
I love flawed characters. But yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, so that's out. Now that we got kind of movies happening again in theaters.
There was a really good one another good one on Netflix. Something about a bridge. Oh, I should have prepped more.
Oh well.
Mistakes were made. That's okay. I'll bring them up next time.
I'm excited for Antlers. I'm still waiting for that one to come out.
Oh yeah, we've talked about that a couple times, haven't we?
I'm not sure when it's supposed to be out, but it.
At some point here it is.
Yeah, it looks. I'm excited for that one. That one looks good.
Did they, like, push it back because of the COVID?
Yeah.
Oh,
Everything
too
got
bad.
pushed back.
Of course, yeah.
Of course.
Of course. Damn. Well, I heard that Mulan is kind of shitting the bed too.
Yeah, I heard that as well.
That's too bad.
Too
For
bad.
a multitude of reasons.
It's too bad. New Mutants didn't do as good as they. I'm sure it'll do better
Yes.
with the when it goes to DVD and Blu-ray and all that. But
Okay.
I heard it. It looked good to me.
Yes.
I read about it. I heard they're pretty faithful, but the guy who was originally
yes.
behind it, he was mad because they changed a few things that he didn't like.
See, and I've heard both good and bad things about them. Or about it. And, you know, it's one of those things where, like, I would totally give it a try. I don't know. I try not to read into reviews too much.
Same.
Because I never agree with them.
Oh, neither do I.
And I feel like we have this talk all the time where it's like, well, I heard that it wasn't too bad. Okay, super random. I watched Charlie's Angels, like the one with Kristen Stewart.
Oh, no.
It was so good.
No.
It was so good.
No.
I enjoyed every second of it. I watched it with my parents, and we were just kind of, It was we were just watching random movies. Like we watched the Ocean's 8 with like the all-female Ocean's 8, which we'd already seen. Or was it Ocean's 11? What did they call it? I think it's called 8, yeah. And which I loved. I've already seen it though a few times. And then we watched Bridesmaids with
it's a classic.
It was just like we were on Netflix and it was just like recommended after you finish a movie. And then Charlie's Angels popped up and I'm like, "Oh, that might be fun." And it was not bad. Like I enjoyed it's just an action movie, honestly.
Yeah, but
you know? Yeah.
But to have the director, writer, Elizabeth Banks?
Yeah.
To come out and say it's because the men don't like strong women in action movies. Fucking bullshit.
Well,
No, I'm not done yet. Sarah Connor, Terminator 1, 2, Dark Fate. Sigourney Weaver is Ellen Ripley in Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, Alien Resurrection, kind of, sort of. I can keep going. I just can't think of any more at the time. But those two alone.
Sure.
Female stars, action movies, box office hits.
Sure, yeah. I think
Charlie's
that
Angels failed
more.
because it was bad.
Oh,
Bad
I
plot.
really liked
I haven't
it.
seen. I haven't seen it.
Sure.
But I have no desire to see it because I like the originals
Sure.
with Holly Berry.
Yes.
Holly Berry. No, Drew
Cameron
Barrymore.
Diaz,
Cameron
Drew
Diaz, Drew Barrymore, and Lucy Liu.
Yeah.
Loved them.
Same.
I love those. Those are fun movies. It had the goofiness. It had the fun. It had action. It didn't flop because it had a great plot.
Right.
New Charlie's Angels, it got panned because of the plot, not because.
Really? I thought it was good. I really enjoyed it, honestly, and I felt it was like it's the same sort of goofiness between the girls. I don't know. I just like I don't read that much into what was going on with whatever behind the scenes. I just thought it was a fun movie, and I enjoyed it.
And good for you. That's awesome.
It was good.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. And again, I'm not one to do follow-up in the reviews, but
Sure.
if it's, I did watch a trailer for it when it first came, was announced.
Same.
I'm like,
But you know I love Twilight, so I was like, Kristen Stewart is bae.
Don't get me started on that. But she did good in Underwater.
Yeah.
It all depends on the role you get.
100%. I think different, even like Robert Pattinson, horrible in Twilight.
Yep.
And he agrees.
And you know what? I'm excited to see him in a new Batman movie.
I am jazzed. That trailer looks amazing.
He looks like a great Batman. His Bruce Wayne is a little iffy.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to pass judgment yet.
Before we see it, yeah.
Bingo.
It looks very dark. Like, I love how the Batmans are turning out to be so dark. Like, the scene in the trailer where he's, like, beating that man to death, I'm like,
I love that part.
It's the best part.
I got goosebumps on that. I'm like, okay,
Right?
this is a brutal Batman. And apparently this is like year 2. This is his second year as the role. Mm-hmm. And I think like the Riddler is going to be the big bad. You got the Penguin, you got Catwoman. I think you got 1 or 2 other ones who's supposed to be in it. Yes. That's scary because too many villains makes it a very muddled
turns into like
movie.
The Andrew Garfield Spider-Man's almost. That second one was rough.
I didn't mind it.
Really? Oh,
I liked what they're doing.
When I think of the Curse of Too Many Villains, that's the one I think of.
The one I think of is Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, that too.
That was
and like rough. Sandman was done so well, like the Sand Dude.
Oh yes.
Fuck, he was good.
That was.
But then why did they have to throw more people in there?
Like, I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because the not the network, the company.
Like the studio.
The studio. Thank you. The studio. They knew that Venom was a huge draw.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I watched Venom for the first time too.
Oh, what'd you think? I thought it was great.
So good.
Yeah.
I also watched Guns Akimbo. Okay, we'll get back to
Okay. But
you finish.
Because the studio thought
yes.
everyone likes Venom. Venom's a huge hit. Everyone talks about Venom. Let's throw him in 2.
Yeah.
And Sam Raimi's like, no, why? No, we got Sandman, we got the other Goblin.
Yes.
We don't need put Venom in. How? Make it work. Okay.
And then we get the
Tobey
Maguire. the
Not to-
most memeable
not-
thing.
Yes, we get that Tobey Maguire, and we get Topher Grace as Venom.
Which was
Eddie Brock. Now,
disappointing.
that was yes and no. It was a good polar opposite of Spider-Man or Peter Parker.
Yes.
Because Peter Parker's kind of a nerdy guy.
Yeah,
You get a bit of
right.
Spider. He's now kind of buff superhero. Comic-wise, Eddie Brock was this huge, muscly journalist.
Yes.
And he tried to make a name for himself by making up some stories about the Sin Eater, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
He gets caught by Spider-Man for faking it,
Mm-hmm.
lost his job, and kind of cursed Spider-Man. He's like,
Sure.
"Oh, fuck Spider-Man, he fucked me over." And I think maybe Peter Parker at the same time, I'm not sure which.
Sure.
But then Peter lost the symbiote suit. It fell down to Eddie Brock as he was about to commit suicide. He was in the church.
Yeah.
He was asking for forgiveness because he's Catholic. And boom, became Venom. And the rejection of the Venom symbiote, coupled with Eddie Brock's anger and hate and rage at Spider-Man, and then Peter Parker, because he knew all about him,
Yes.
became just the biggest villain
Yes.
against, like, his nemesis. Just,
Right.
he's had lots, Green Goblins, Doc Ock, all that. But Venom was the only one who can, he's basically his opposite
Yes.
and then some. He's got more strength. He got the same powers. He can negate Peter Parker's spider sense.
Right.
He's his main villain.
Yeah.
And they took that, but they kind of just cut most of that out for the movie and said, here, Topher Grace, he's mad and bitchy.
Yeah.
Go
It
with
felt
it.
whiny
Yes.
as opposed to angry.
Yes.
And that's when you get into that scary territory of, like, you know, putting it in there just for villain's sake instead of really developing it.
Yeah.
Which is what I loved about the new Venom is, like, you're, like, feeling bad for him, and then you're, like, mad at him, and then you don't understand why he's doing the stuff he's doing, and it's, like, you know, you're kind of understanding, like, Venom's point of view, because obviously they're, like, two separate entities, and listening to them talk is hilarious.
And they got that right from the
Yes.
comics, where it talks to him like they're together. They call themselves we because they're together.
Exactly.
But also you get it talking to him and conversing and working things out.
For sure.
Whereas Spider-Man 3, he was just a suit.
Yes.
There's nothing else to it besides it
Exactly.
being a suit. And just the look of Eddie Brock was wrong. He was too skinny, I think. He wasn't imposing enough.
Yes. And especially, like, and I don't like when they typecast people, but he was, like, fresh off that 70s show, like,
I think he left that show to be in the
to
movie.
do this, yeah. And it was just too soon, and he didn't grow as, he was literally, like, what's his face? Foreman. I forget his first name. Red's the dad. Eric
yes,
Foreman.
sorry,
In Spider-Man,
Yeah.
really, like there was no differentiation between it.
Yeah.
But, like, speaking of typecast, like I said, I watched Guns Akimbo. I'll just talk this here. We're over talking chop, but that's okay.
Who
Who
cares?
cares? We can do a quicker review, whatever.
Yep.
Guns Akimbo was so good.
Awesome. I'll have to watch that.
It was ridiculous. Like, speaking of lack of plot, it was the dumbest plot I have ever thought of in my entire life. It was so stupid. But it was so mindless. Like, I loved it. I loved it. It's, the main villain in it is played by Samara Weaving, who was the main character in Ready or Not.
And she is in Bill and Ted's Face the Music.
Yeah.
Which I've yet to see. I'm obviously that soon. I want to see this movie so bad.
Yeah, it was, but she plays, like, a trailer trash, like, drug addict. God, like, I didn't even realize it was her. I was like, why does she look so familiar? And then I looked up the IMDb, and I was like, oh my God, I just watched you in Ready or Not. But she plays, like, oh my God, it's just so good. It's very, like...
And we got, and also, excuse me, the main character is Daniel Radcliffe from Harry Potter, which is going to happen. We're going to be on the Beer and Chill one day. And when we do, we're bringing a Harry Potter talk
I'm
to
so excited.
Jan and Craig, and they better watch out, because Craig hates Harry Potter.
Oh, you know what? They brought it up again on their new episode
Yes.
of with Batman Arkham that they were talking about, and they're like, talk about movies like this or that or Harry Potter, and he's like, not Harry Potter.
Well, you know what? This is for you, Craig. And he kind of plays along. I don't know if he's
Yes.
a big Harry Potter fan, but Craig, I know you hate Harry Potter. When we're on the show, we're going to talk about nothing but Harry Potter. And this is a shoot.
I'm very good at segues, so watch out.
Oh, it's gonna be.
Oh my
It's gonna happen soon. I'm not sure when. We got talking. We kind of work things out, but
Totally.
it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be Harry Potter and nothing but Harry Potter. And this is still a shoot. And you know what I'm talking about, Craig and Jan. So,
Speaking of segues, should we get into the review?
I think we should, but first we have a little advertisement from Beer and Chill we're gonna throw on there.
Speaking of segues and beer and chill.
Beer and Chill, more Beer and Chill segues. We got a little advertisement for them. We're gonna play, and then we'll go into review.
Here we go.
Yeah.
This is your mom's favorite show, Beer and Chill podcast. My name is Jan,
And I'm Craig.
and we would really appreciate if you would stop by and listen to our show. We are talking about interesting facts about your favorite movies, games, and TV shows.
For example, did you know that Christopher Lee and Ian McKellen had a real-life beef because Christopher Lee wanted to play Gandalf in Lord of the Rings?
And many other great facts.
We hope you check us out and enjoy the rest of your show. Bye-bye.
The detonator. Where is it?
All right. So this week we watched, which we haven't really talked about it a ton, but we got off on a little segue there. We watched Virus, which is a 1999 movie, and it was directed by John Bruno and written by Chuck Farrer and Dennis Feldman.
Nice.
Yeah, that feels right.
Yeah.
Oh, creator of the Dark Horse comic book series Virus. Interesting.
Yeah.
Didn't know there was such a thing.
I read a bit about it. It was, it had like comic origins and
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah, this would make a good comic. You can feel that from the effects and whatnot. Hey.
Yeah.
This would be a super cool comic.
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be good. Oh, yeah.
Hey. Just like robots always make cool comics,
They do.
I think.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, where did you first hear about this movie?
Do you want me to say it?
Yeah.
Last week when you said, Alana, we're watching Virus.
Perfect. Perfect.
Oh, I was re-listening to our episode a couple days ago, and I was like, God damn it, I need to, expand my, I feel like I have a good grasp on the classics, but when you're like, oh yeah, we're gonna watch this movie, I'm like, oh, what? I've never heard of such a thing. And, but I was into this.
It's
fun.
I mentioned to our friend and listener and sometimes guest Tasia. She asked, what's the next episode? I'm like, Virus. Oh, is that like a zombie? I'm like, no, it's not zombies. It's robots.
First off, it's Killer Robot Month. How dare you?
Tasia, jeepers.
Goodness gracious. But I in the same breath, last week when we watched Screamers and the first scene with the things, I'm like, oh, what is that? Is that like an animal? And you're like, Alana, it's Killer Robot Month. So, oh, right. So, don't throw stones at glass houses, Alana.
Yeah, those robots will come and kill you.
Oh my god.
Well, I remember when this first came out, I never saw it in theaters, but I saw it when it came to VHS.
Okay.
And I thought, oh, cool. This isn't a bad movie. I didn't mind it. I knew some of the actors, mostly...
Who doesn't know Jamie Lee Curtis and Donald
exactly.
Sutherland, right?
That was the two
Yeah.
big ones. And he had William
That has
Baldwin.
to have been the draw, hey?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel that. I would have seen it because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I remember the trailers for it. It didn't look bad. It looked interesting.
Yeah, we didn't watch the trailer. I would have been interested. I wonder, what did they show in the trailer? Do
I
you even
forget.
remember?
Well, we'll watch it after.
Like, how would they even...
Well, it's in like late 90s, so it'd be very
I guarantee there's an
voiceover.
explosion in it. I
Oh, of
guarantee.
course. I betcha. Do you want to make a bet?
Deal.
Okay. $20. $20. There's an explosion in the trailer.
But I said explosion.
Well, yeah, explosion. Yeah, so
Yeah.
$20 for you if there's an
Okay.
explosion in the trailer.
Okay.
$20 for me if there isn't. And I have
Okay.
not seen this trailer for a long time. I don't remember.
Deal. It's on.
It's on. We got
It's
to
on.
shake.
Oh, my hand's kind of wet.
Shake.
Sorry. We sit considerably farther away from it. This is kind of social distancing without meaning to be.
Sure.
But I mean, we live with each other, so
Pretty
I mean,
much, yeah.
here we are.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for you to get sick, and then I'll get sick, and then
And
Icky
Nicky
gets sick, and yeah, then we're all doomed.
Yeah. Hooray!
Well, let's go through the actors.
Let's do it. We kind of already talked.
Yeah, so we got Jamie Lee Curtis from Halloween fame and other...
Oh, you mean Freaky Friday isn't her claim to fame?
No. This was... Did you see that trailer? This is back to Talking Shop for a second.
Ooh.
Freaky.
No.
I sent you a trailer. It's got... what's his name? What's his name? Vince Vaughn? No.
Okay.
Anyways, teen girl switches bodies with the killer who's doing all these killings right when he kills her.
Ooh.
And then she has, basically she's in his body, he's in her body. He's still killing, but using her now, her body as, a lure. And she's trying to convince her friends that she's who she said she is and not get caught by the police.
Interesting.
It's a very horror take on Freaky Friday.
Cool.
Hence, Freaky.
Right.
So
Fun.
we'll watch that. We'll watch the trailer too after. But for our listeners, check out the trailer. What do you think? Let us know.
Yeah.
So, anyways, Jamie Lee Curtis. She plays Kelly Kit Foster,
Yes.
and she's known for Halloween. And her mother was the star of
Psycho.
Thank you. So,
Yay.
yeah. We have a Baldwin.
One of
Baldwin
them.
is in this movie. William Baldwin as Steve Baker.
Did he ever do anything else?
Well,
I'm sure he actually did. But they all kind of dip their toes into acting.
He was in Internal Affairs, Flatliners, Backdraft.
Oh. Okay,
That's
so
some of them.
anything recent?
Yes.
Oh.
Backdraft 2 apparently is a direct-to-video. I never heard or saw of it.
Because I didn't even know that there was
There's
a
nothing.
William Baldwin. But he was good in this. Honestly, he was not a bad actor in this at all. I thought it was, par for the course.
He was in Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
As who?
Detective Hunter Rush.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall? There was a detective?
Haven't seen him for a while, I guess so. Anyways,
Love that movie.
we have the great Donald Sutherland as Captain Robert Everton.
Yes.
He's classic.
Fabulous. So, smarmy and greasy in this.
And super Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
Hooray for Canadian actors.
Yay.
And actresses.
That's us. Not the actor part, but
That's his
Canadian part.
Yes. We have Joanna Bakula as Nadia, Vinogradova. She's Russian.
Fun.
Marshall Bell as J.W. Woods Jr. And that's the guy I was telling about. He was in Starship Troopers.
Yes.
He was in
Total
Recall. Yeah.
Wade.
Great actor. Great actor.
So fab. Yeah.
Sherman Augustus as Richie Mason.
Yay.
Cliff Curtis as Hiko.
Oh, he did such a good job.
He did. I liked him in this one.
He was fantastic.
Julio Oscar Makoso as Squeaky.
Squeaky.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we got Yuri Chevotin as Colonel Kaminsky, Keith Flippin as Captain Lonya Rostov, and Levin, oh my goodness, Uchani Shvili as
Sure.
Alexei.
Okay.
The Russians.
I was going to say, I don't remember any of those people.
they were the Russians.
Oh, those Rush.
Oh, the Russians. So yeah,
Fun. Yay.
should we get into the plot?
Yes, yes.
Oh, good.
Plot.
Plot. So,
We start off on the Russian transport.
we actually do. Academic Vladislav Volkov, a Russian research vessel, a little. Oh, Chekhov, you were a darling in Star Trek.
Oh my god.
A research vessel in the South Pacific communicates with the orbiting space station Mir. A large energy source traveling through space strikes Mir, killing the cosmonauts and beaming itself down to Volkov. The electrical surge takes over the ship and attacks the crew. I cannot talk right now. Wow.
That's okay.
Just tongue-tied. 7 days later, the tugboat Sea Star, captained by alcoholic Robert Everton. Oh, Wikipedia, you are a darling.
You are a joy.
Loses its uninsured cargo while sailing through a typhoon. 1. Why sail through a typhoon?
Like,
And an uninsured. Like, yeah.
insurance is expensive, you know.
Yeah, and he and Everton was very keen on not losing his cargo.
Yes.
He went to a point where he drew a gun on the guys and, we're not losing this cargo. This is money. It's not insured. I fucked up. And you're like, oh dear.
Yeah.
Long story short, it breaks free. That ship sinks, and they make it to the eye of the storm.
Yes.
And their ship is damaged and leaking.
Yes.
It's taking on water more than it's dumping it out.
Exactly. Yeah. They're in a spot of trouble.
Yeah. Sea Star's crew, led by navigator and ex-Navy officer Kelly Foster, Jim Lee Curtis, and engineer Steve Baker, the bald one, discover the engine room taking on water. When Sea Star takes refuge in the eye of the storm to make repairs, Volkov appears on their radar. And this was just when the captain, Everton, was going to basically blow his head off.
Exactly.
He had a pistol aimed at his head, and he's like, I'm fucked.
Yep.
I'm screwed. I was going to make the money, and I can't, and now I'm screwed.
Donald Sutherland, he's like sitting in the captain's quarters, and he like loads a gun, and he's like points at his head and takes a drink.
It's in the mouth
like,
first, and he's
yes.
and he went to pull trigger, knock on the door, and he takes out, I'm busy.
Yeah.
And they're like, we got a ship, and it's dead in the water.
Dead in the water, and he's like,
yeah, me too.
yeah, dead in the water.
That makes
He's
two
like,
of us.
Okay, well, you're acting weird, but...
Yeah.
And then he kind of pulls it away, and he's like, wait a sec.
Dead in the water.
Wait.
Money. The dollar signs kind of rolled over into his eyes.
Yeah.
So, realizing that it could be worth millions in salvage, Everton orders his crew aboard.
Yay.
On Volkov, most of the electronics have been destroyed, and the Russian crew are seemingly missing. Everton orders Steve to help a fellow crewman, Squeaky, restore power to the ship.
Yeah, Squeaky and Steve have a bromance going on.
Yeah.
They're like BFFs. Yeah. They're adorable.
Yes. Steve was all about finding Squeaky after.
Yes.
Yeah. Restore power to the ship. Immediately afterward, the power's on. The ship's anchor drops on its own, sinking Sea Star with deckhand Hiko and the first mate, J.W. Woods Jr. on board. Let's call him Woods.
Okay, so I have a bone to pick in this part, which I brought up to you while we were watching.
Yeah.
Both Woods and Hiko can't swim.
I think Woods can, but Hiko said he couldn't. Woods just went and grabbed like the only life ring that they threw out.
Right.
And said, fuck you, Hiko, I'm out of here.
Yeah. Hiko's like, I can't swim, and he's like,
I'll send
get help.
Yeah. And Hiko, he can't swim, and he's got like a big chunk of wood just in his...
Yes.
His like leg.
Yes. But Woods was saying, he's like, oh, like if it wasn't you, it would have been me. And so that's why I was like, well, could he not swim either? But anyways, the fact that you're on a boat in the middle of buttfuck nowhere and you can't swim. But then I was thinking because they were talking about, and I'm not entirely sure where they were, but they were talking about New Zealand / Australia, and Hiko is obviously indigenous from, I would say, one of the two. So was he a guide, maybe? Maybe that's why he couldn't swim. Was he a part of the
I
boat?
don't know.
I don't know. Does that make sense?
No, because he was, I think, when they're arguing about the uninsured. No, that was Squeaky. That was Stephen Squeaky talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm sure he was with. He
Right?
must have been with him before.
Right.
He just doesn't swim and has life jacket handy close. I'm
just
guessing.
really weird. It's just really weird.
Yeah, money is money.
I don't love it.
So anyway, Steve leaves Squeaky to guard the engine room while he is lured to his where he is lured to his death by a robotic spider-like creature.
Yes.
Yep.
And it's the first thing we kind of see these creatures like,
Little
yeah,
spidery,
exactly,
yep.
luring people basically away. And we see him kind of like grab him and pull him into whatever, the vent that he's looking in. It's like, oh.
Steve rescues an injured Hiko while Woods comes out unscathed. And then he gets stitched up by... Yeah. As Foster treats Hiko in the sick bay, Chief Science Officer Nadia, the sole surviving member of Volkov's crew, shoots at the crew and is subdued by Steve. Like, she just kind of bursts out of this room with a gas mask on and just sprays with a machine gun.
Yeah.
Nadia is hysterical about it needing power to travel through the ship and implores the crew to shut down the generators.
Yeah, she's
Makes
like,
sense.
you have to turn the power off. You have to turn the power off. And they're
And
like,
she
oh,
is
why?
scared.
Yes.
Like, shitless. Like, she is just raving almost. And she's been there for 7 days. And we see a scene, they get the gun on her and it's just on the table with some food. And she makes a break for the table. And they think, it's the gun she's after. No, she's after the food.
Totally.
She grabs this little, energy bar and she scarfs it down. She texts Everton and Foster, who subdues her and takes her to the bridge. Steve, Woods, and crewman Richie go to the engine room to look for Squeaky, but instead stumble upon an automated workshop producing more of the strange robots.
So, I love this part. This part and the part where we see them, like, building the, like, human-y robots after. This is what I wanted from Screamers. This exact scene. Where we kind of get to see what they're doing and why they're doing it.
Yeah.
I feel like this scene basically is what was missing from Screamers. It's just that little bit of background to kind of fill in those blanks.
Yeah.
Right?
I
don't know, just as I was watching it, I was like, man, why wouldn't they give,
Because they're always bringing the bodies underground.
Exactly.
Where are they taking them? Yeah.
And in this one, that's the same thing where they're getting the bodies, but then we see in a later scene exactly what they're doing with them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Very graphically what they're doing with them. Oh.
So, the three of them are attacked by the robots and what appears to be a gun-wielding Russian crew member.
Yes.
The Russian is revealed to be a cyborg.
Dun, dun, dun.
But the three bring it down with salvaged munitions from the ship's small arms locker and take its seemingly dead body to the bridge.
Yes.
Which is the effects are just great. The dead bodies, everything is great.
Yes.
Nadia explains that the sentient electrical energy beam from the mirror took over the ship 8 days prior, scanned the ship's computers to find information on killing humans, then used the automated workshops to convert Volkov's crew into cyborgs. The one brought to the bridge was the ship's captain and Nadia's husband.
Alexei.
Yeah. And it's cool how Woods is, he's very engineering, not challenged. He's an engineer. He can build stuff very easily.
Yeah.
And the way he's kind of going through like the corpse and the brain or something inside the brain, and it's like, it's still got activity.
Wasn't that Richie?
Sorry, Richie. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Okay.
Richie. Sorry.
I was like, Woods was scared of
Yeah,
everything.
that's right. Woods, Richie. I mean, yeah, Richie.
Yes, yeah. And he's like, poking around the brain, and he sees like this little screen almost showing activity.
And like it kind of reacts. It grabs Nadia's arm. They cut it off, and it kind of falls off. And in a very good graphic scene, it splits its front. It's basically from its head to sternum open, and the
skull.
The skull and spine
Yeah.
with with robotic parts kind of springs
Yeah,
up.
jumps out.
Yep, and Richie just blows it away because he's freaked out.
Yes.
And right there he kind of starts to break right there.
Yeah, and he's like, nope, fuck this,
Yeah.
nope.
Yeah. As the storm resumes, the crew head for the computer room. On the way, they are ambushed by a converted Squeaky and a giant robot that kills Woods, which is a cool scene.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we're just gonna glaze over that, like you didn't just say what happened, like...
Oh no, the Squeaky grabs Woods and kind of brings him toward this huge, I think it's called Titan or something.
Okay.
And it kind of just lifts him up, and Woods is screaming, like, help, help,
Yep.
help. And it punches a hole through his chest.
Like, straight up.
Yeah, and then just kind of tosses him into Everton and all that, and Woods is dead.
Yeah, he's very, very dead.
Yeah. The survivors barricade themselves in the communications room, where Richie sends out a mayday. However, Everton shoots out the radio, unwilling to give up his salvage. Foster punches Everton and removes him from command.
Yes.
Richie then
That
uses...
was funny.
Oh, yeah. Richie then uses the computers to talk to the alien, credited as the Intelligence.
Yes.
It tells him that it is aware and sees mankind as a virus, which it plans to use as spare parts.
Which, like...
It's not
They're
wrong.
not wrong.
We are totally... the human race is totally a virus.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
We suck.
Boo.
This drives Richie insane.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was already going there. This pushes him over the edge, causing him to gun down Squeaky and flee by literally like blasting a hole in the wall and just running off.
Right.
When the remaining crew leave the room, Everton takes the opportunity to talk to the Intelligence, which recognizes him as the dominant life form, which is basically him just BSing its way through.
I was gonna say, he's just like, hey, I'm Everton, and I'm the dominant life form
King
here.
of the castle, king of the castle. He's very high on himself, thinking he's king shit.
Yes.
And the
But
virus
he's just a
isn't.
big fucking crybaby, let's be honest.
He was greedy
Ugh.
pants.
And then, like, they're having all of this horrible stuff happen after Foster was her name?
Yep.
Yeah, Foster punches him. And he's like fucking Squeaky's coming through the wall, and he's sitting in the corner just like pouting.
He's
They're like,
laughing.
okay, well we're leaving, so
And he's just
like,
sitting there, just kind of smiling, laughing.
yeah,
He's
and
like,
you punched me, and it's like that's what you're dwelling on. All this shit is happening, and that's what you're worried about.
you punched your captain. It's mutiny. You're crazy. And she's like, screw you.
Yeah.
The crew discovers that the Intelligence has moved Volkov's computer elsewhere in the ship.
Yes.
Realizing that the ship is moving, they return to the bridge by going outside, where Hiko is lost to the typhoon.
Yes, and the most anticlimactic death.
Yeah, they could have done more with that, I think.
Ugh.
Meanwhile, Everton is guided to one of the workshops, where he makes a bargain with the Intelligence. Which is a cool scene. You see
This
where it's
is
working.
so sweet.
There's corpses. They're just cutting away.
This is definitely the most graphic, other than Woods getting like chest bumped.
Yeah.
This is the most graphic kind of portion, just because it's like a bit more drawn out and it's very in your face. And there's like lots of, like my favorite horror movie word, squelch. There's lots of squelching.
Oh, yes.
And ripping and tearing and
Cutting
and manipulating of flesh and
It's a very
bones and
it's very Borg
yes,
of Star Trek, which
Yes.
when I saw First Contact, that scared the crap out of me.
as it should.
That
yeah.
was a good scary movie.
Yes.
Okay. Foster identifies Lord Howe Island as Volkov's destination, with Nadia surmising that the Intelligence wishes to seize a British intelligence station from which it could seize control of the world's military forces.
Oof.
As they decide to sink Volkov, the survivors are confronted by the now cyborg Everton, which they defeat with a thermite hand grenade. Yeah.
In about a 30-second fight.
Yeah, that could have
Another
been...
very disappointing.
Well, I guess so Donald did not want to do this more than a day of the makeup.
Oh, interesting.
So he told him flat out, I want my scenes as this done in a day.
Wow.
And they're like, well, okay. They kind of bowed to his wishes because it's Donald Sutherland.
Donald Sutherland. Yeah, which
And
I
that
get.
was a fuck ton of makeup thrown on him.
It was. Yeah,
was
it looked like two different bodies sewn together.
It was. They basically cut his head off and put it on, I think, Woods' body.
Right. But I mean, like, I'm assuming that was actually Donald Sutherland's
Oh,
body.
oh yeah, of course.
Right, but I
For
mean,
up
like,
close.
that's what I can't believe, like, because it looks like two different like a body and a head.
Yeah.
And so that was really impressive how they did that.
And it's got, like, basically it's his upper torso.
Right.
Everything from his chest below was all robots.
Robot, yes.
And everything else was, I think his hand, one hand was robotic halfway. He had, like, weird little flippy things over his eyes.
Yes.
It was well done.
Yeah, I just wish that, and I guess I understand if he only wants to film for a day, but it was really disappointing just how quick it was. It was like, he swung at, like, one person, and they're like, kick.
I think what they should have done, because there's that big Titan one, they should have put him on that.
Yes,
and have him just chase him.
Yes. Like, because this whole movie is kind of cat and mouse, and it just feels like then, all this build up to him being like, this bad guy, and then it's like, oh, nope, sorry.
And obviously they kind of double crossed him a bit.
Yes, right.
They turned him into one of them, but also he seemed to be,
Yeah, he didn't really care, I don't think.
It's not like he was in control, but at the same time he wasn't. I don't know if they're using his voice or what, I don't know.
Right, yeah.
So they escape that, they empty the ship's fuel tanks and set explosive charges.
Yes.
Foster, Steve, and Nadia run into Richie. We see a little side story. He's doing his own thing. He's in the missile room.
Yes.
He's got like a bunch of explosives set up, and still he's quite batshit crazy right now. And
he's like painting his face and like putting on like weird headgear and stuff, and it's like, oh, okay, so you're a bit tinfoil hat at this point, but that's cool.
Yeah. And they kind of also ready with him. Richie, we're looking to get out of here. Let us know what you're up to.
Yes.
Yeah. So then they run into him. Foster, Steve, Nadia run into Richie. A giant robot piloted by the intelligence suddenly appears and attacks Nadia, Richie, and Steve. The intelligence captures Foster after she jumps into the fuel.
Yes.
And that would just suck.
Oh, and there's like a bunch of dead bodies floating in it.
Because when Nadia's saying that when the intelligence took over, it it activated all the fire extinguishers.
Yes.
And 70 some of the crew died due to the poison.
Instantly, yeah. So that's obviously where they were all hanging out.
Yeah. And the intelligence captures Foster and tortures her for the information of the detonator. Mm-hmm. And she's like, fuck you, I don't know where it is. And it tortures her.
Yeah.
It basically electrocutes her, and she's not having a good time.
No.
And then everyone shows up. They save her. Nadia helps her, get free, and they kind of do their own little weekend escape.
Yes.
A mortally wounded Richie informs Steve that he prepared a jury-rigged ejection seat that can be used for escape. Mm-hmm. Nadia and Steve rescue Foster, and Nadia sacrificed herself by shooting a flare gun at nearby gas tanks to kill the intelligence.
Yes. Yep.
This could have been a little more graphic because it grabs her arm and lifts her up.
Yes.
They could have done a little more, not say torture, but they could
I was just going to say torture, and I was like, oh, torture's like the right word. But just kind of holds her, and he's like...
It could have done a little more damage. It could have squeezed the arm. It could have...
pulled an arm off.
Yes.
Anything, yeah. I agree.
But, whatever. Which it doesn't kill the intelligence.
No.
Foster and Steve make it out safely by using Richie's ejection seat, which triggers an explosion that sinks Volkov.
Yes.
Then that's kind of how it dies. It's causing sentient electricity, sentient electricity to disperse in the seawater. We don't see that whatsoever. It just sinks.
Yeah, I was gonna say it basically everything goes kaboom, and then it sinks, and that's it.
Yep, that's it.
And then they're floating a la Titanic in the next scene, and that's it.
Yeah, and then we get a little psych out because we see I see a ship sees the explosion because they answered the call.
Yes.
And if you need help, send up a flare.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, That's one hell of a flare.
Yeah, and they weren't going to because then the
They didn't
intelligence
want-
would
yes.
transfer that ship and start over again. But yeah, so we see Foster and Steve kind of just floating out of the Titanic, and we see this other body next to him. We're like, oh, it's it's Hiko, yay! And then she pulls his hair back, and his face is all like melted away.
Yes.
And then we get the alien kind of mechanical scream,
Yeah.
and it reaches out to her, and then Foster wakes up, and she's on the helicopter, and they're flying to safety towards a U.S. naval ship.
Yes.
The end.
The end.
The end.
There is obviously no second one of this.
No.
Because
But it's a cool idea.
I was going to say there's so much potential to, like, make a really good second one. Like, literally, like, Screamers, where, you know, something escapes. Something is saved. The intelligence was stored on a radio that they had, or something.
What about Mir, the space station? It
Exactly.
could have still kept something on there.
Exactly, yeah. Because it's such a cool idea. And it's just, and I don't, that's the thing is that, like, I don't understand why Jamie Lee Curtis hates this movie so much. Because it wasn't, like, super poorly executed.
No.
I've definitely seen worse movies.
So have I. Jack Frost. Terrible, terrible movie.
Like, are you talking about, like, the horror movie?
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Awful.
Oh my god, I
So
was
bad.
thinking about, like,
I think it's on Shudder.
What's
Watch
the
it.
Snowman movie? Wasn't that one called Jack? What was that one called?
I think it was called Jack Frost, yeah.
Was it? Okay, because
With
that's
Tim
the
Allen.
first movie I cried
No,
during.
not Tim Allen. That was with Michael Keaton.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was
Stupid
like,
movie.
I
I
was
thought
like-
it's a dumb movie.
I was
Terrible
like,
movie.
you hated that movie.
Yeah.
It was
Yep.
so sad.
Both of them are bad, in my opinion.
You're just on a tirade tonight. Holy
I'm
moly.
pissed off.
Rue the day. Oh my god.
No more Mr. Nice Nick.
Yeah.
Movie's
Take
bad.
that. Movie's bad. Nick Smash.
Oh, Nick Smash. Spider Kiss.
He did that during the movie. Oh my god. Spartacus.
Watch Game Grumps, audience, or victims. Please watch Game Grumps. So funny.
Yeah. Oh.
So how would you rate Virus?
I don't know. Probably like I think it's not good, but it's not. But I had a fun time. Like, I would honestly give it like a 2.5.
I was just say the same thing. Stop taking my vote, my ratings.
I
Yes,
just.
I agree. It's a 2.5. It's
Yeah,
not.
it's right middle of the road. Like, if somebody's like, "Oh, I'm gonna watch Virus," I wouldn't be like, "Oh my god, save your time," but I'd be like, "Okay, well, yeah."
It's a nice little flick.
fun.
They could have done a lot worse with it.
Yes.
Um,
The deaths, I think that's what I felt let down. It's one of those things where, like, when your parents are like, "I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed."
yeah.
That's how I felt. Is like the deaths just had so much more potential. The practical effects were amazing, and I think that's why I was disappointed with some of the special effects. Not that they're bad, but just that they're just not as good as the practical ones. That's the thing. Is that, you know, when you mix them a bit and just
Yeah.
it's
There was-
1999 was showing.
There was a little bit of CGI, not
Yes,
a lot, but there's enough
exactly.
for the like the faraway shots of
Yes.
the robots.
Right.
And in the faraway shots, it's not terrible CGI.
Right.
It makes it move faster, gives it more of a
Exactly.
you know, we're in trouble. Feelings kind of, you know, up close where it's more clunky, kind
Yes.
of slower moving. But both effects look good.
Yes.
The
yes.
practical effects were phenomenal. They actually the big Titan type, like Goliath monster robots, that was legit. That was real. How they made that, I have no idea. It looked just hulking, massive, scary.
Yes.
Had treads. I'm pretty sure it had treads. Basically, when you first see it, it just tears through a bulkhead,
Yes.
which is it shows you, okay, they're in trouble.
Exactly.
Woods had no chance. You could punch right through Woods.
Yeah.
Um,
Like he was paper.
yeah, and it made it an actual legitimate threat,
Yes.
as opposed to like the human cyborgs or the little scuttery spider guys.
But the human cyborgs I found were creepy.
Oh yeah,
Like when they encountered, especially when they first encountered Alexei, it's kind of like when you see him off in the distance, you kind of see like this, like his flesh like wiggling on his face and his chest exposed, and you're like,
yeah.
oh, he's not okay. Like that is not a human. And it's just creepy because his eyes are closed. It's very like you can tell it's almost like they're wearing a human suit.
Yeah.
And there is no emotion, no nothing. Whereas Squeaky was a bit more like, actually.
I was going to talk about Squeaky because you see, his left side of his face was human.
Yes.
And then you see him turn. You got like behind silhouette of him, and his right side is just wires and mechanical, and it's a great look, great effects. If Jamie Lee Curtis doesn't like the movie for itself, fine.
Yes.
But the effects were great. And for that, she said, as bad as the movie was, the effects were phenomenal. And that's where most of the rating for me, the 2.5, goes to effects.
Yes.
The
acting
story
wasn't bad, though.
No,
you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing, is that, like, the movie wasn't bad. That's why I just am having trouble in my head reconciling. And I mean, she has done good movies. But, like True Lies, I could watch that all day.
Oh, so good.
But I just, I don't understand why it's so bad. I didn't think it was a bad movie.
Neither did I. No.
Yeah.
I think, I haven't seen all the Halloween, but I'm sure, I've heard H2O was rough.
Yes.
Rough. But I think a lot of the dislike for this movie is misplaced.
For sure.
People who've seen it and think it's crap, give it a watch. And just kind of look at the effects.
Yeah.
Well,
and it's fun. Like, there's explosions, and there's gore, and there's a couple good jump scares. Like, I don't know. I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Yeah, no nudity. The language is pretty tame.
Very tame.
It's got a Baldwin in it. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not the worst. We reviewed worse movies than this. And I like this one. I do like this movie.
Yeah.
I'd even go as far as saying 2.5 to 3.
Sure.
Just because it's a good late 90s flick.
I agree.
Nothing wrong with it. Nothing terrible.
No.
Originality, not so much.
Right.
But
it's
it's good.
Yeah.
It's
cool robot movie.
Cool robot killer movie.
Yay. Whoop, whoop.
So the Ichabod Kill the Flick.
Yes.
There's a few kills. Some are good. Some. Poor Hiko's death. That was kind of sad.
Oh, that was so heroically saves Foster, and then he's like, "Oh, okay, bye," and it just gets swept off, and that was it.
I need saving now.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Okay, bye.
Okay, cool. Twice in one movie. Thanks, guys. Jesus Christ. Yeah. R.I.P. Hiko.
Yeah, but I think the Kill the Flick Woods deserved it.
Definitely.
Just because his is the most kind of it's quick, but it's also very brutal.
It is gory, and it's kind of what I wish every death in this movie was.
Yeah.
It was dramatic. There was a pause. You kind of knew what was going to happen, but it was like a train wreck. You can look away. You're just looking at it, and you're like, oh, he's about to lose something.
Yeah. Looking back, you got Squeaky. He gets kind of pulled into the shaft,
yes.
and that's all we see of him until we see him being.
Yeah.
What they should have had was him being you don't see. You do, but you don't see what happened. As they're being rebuilt.
Right.
If they had a scene of Squeaky waking up and having himself being operated on.
Oh, right.
Because I'm sure there's no anesthetic. There's no
yes.
He was talking I don't know if he was dead or they just kept him alive. I don't know. I wish I could see what they did with Squeaky's construction.
Yeah, what happened, sort of.
Yeah,
because he's still kind of, him and Donald Sutherland were kind of alive still.
They were.
A little, Squeaky to a much lesser extent.
Yeah.
Because all he really said was Steve. But he was still almost aware.
Yeah.
Of what was going on.
And even because when Everton shows up, you have Woods' I think it's his body.
Yes.
And even have Woods being alive, because you see his head cut off.
Yes.
Have Everton come in and have Woods, because he's worked with him for 25 years,
yes.
which Everton tells the intelligence, have him plead, Everton, help, please help. and have everyone just like, sorry, I'm not the
Yes.
captain anymore. You guys turned against me,
Yes.
and have the intelligence kind of as he does that, finish him off
Yes.
and remove the head, and
Yeah.
they could have done more. They could have been a little
Right.
more graphic. That would have probably changed the rating, but
Well, it's already rated R, so I mean,
was it? I thought it was not rated R. I could be wrong.
IMDb said R. I don't know.
It doesn't even say on here. Oh, whatever. Whatever.
Womp womp.
They could have done more with it. They didn't.
Yeah.
But it's still a good movie,
Totally. 100% agree.
and that's why I think of that.
Well, speaking of good movies.
Okay, now this is
Oh my god. Oh my god.
next week to cap off Killer Robot Month.
Sunday.
We're gonna review Terminator.
You're paying for the full seat, but you only need the edge.
Now, people, this was a debate on Facebook, on one of the horror websites I'm on, or horror pages. Is Terminator a horror film?
Yes.
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 People will disagree, saying no, it's all science fiction. It's an action. No, Terminator
Your mom's
2.
science fiction.
Yes, your mom is science fiction. Three-eyed hose beast.
Yeah.
But yeah, Terminator 2 and beyond, straight up science fiction action.
For sure.
Terminator 1
Yeah.
is a horror.
Definitely.
And I'm going to give it a very vague description of a movie, of Terminator. Unstoppable killing thing, hunting down a woman and won't stop.
Yes.
I described Halloween.
Right. Yeah.
Like, it's the same thing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Except the killer is a robot
Yeah.
who's sent through time to kill a woman. And he
I've
kills many
always
people.
thought of the first. Honestly, all Terminators I think are creepy, and the second one is definitely more of an action.
Oh, yeah.
But I think especially these newer ones that are coming out, still actiony, but they're creepy. I think that they could easily make a foray into horror.
It's a borderline slasher.
Yes, I agree. Yeah.
With
But
science
the
fiction
first
with
one-
science fiction elements
Yes.
and yeah.
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 But I don't know. Even the one with Sam, what's his name, Wentworth or whatever. Well, what's that one?
The Terminator?
Yes, Salvation. I
Yes,
think.
yeah.
That one I thought was scary. Mind you, I was not into my horror movie, than I am now. But I thought that one was creepy when I saw it at the time. I went to theaters to see it, and I was like, oh, I fucked up.
There's a lot of, I don't say hate, but people aren't satisfied with anything after 2.
Yes.
And two
right.
is such a good movie. It's hard to top that one.
I was gonna say 2 is my favorite, but I
Yes.
think that's kind of.
I like 1 and 2. I like
Yes.
them both. 2 a
Yes.
little more because the action. I like the 2-1000,
Yep.
and it's got great effects.
Yeah.
3 was too campy,
Oh, 3 was too much.
too goofy.
Too much.
They got
yeah.
way too away from the feel, like the core of the Terminator franchise.
Yeah.
And everyone was waiting for after the war, after the bombs fell. What's it like with a world full of Terminators hunting humans?
Yep.
We kind of got that in Salvation.
I loved Salvation, and people didn't. I don't think love Salvation as much.
No, I don't know why. I really don't.
I really liked it.
I
thought it was.
I like
it was
Genesis.
yes.
I really like
Was
Genesis.
really good too. Really good. Yeah.
And Dark Fate wasn't bad. It was a different take on it.
I agree. I like that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so next week, to cap off Killer Robot Month, we're doing Terminator. Hopefully, special guest.
Yes.
We're still working. We're working a price out for it.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
I'm excited. I
me
love
too.
Terminator.
I'm always excited. Yeah. This is what I look forward to every
Yeah.
week. Hope you guys look forward to it too.
I'm sure they will.
And thank you so much for joining us. This episode was brought to you by our executive producer, Ichabod. We hope you enjoyed your Horr-Gasm as much as we did. Please don't forget to rate, download, and subscribe. Also, like and follow us on Facebook at Horr-Gasm Podcast, Instagram at Horr-Gasm, Twitter at GasmHorror, and YouTube at the Horr-Gasm Podcast. If you have a movie you'd like us to review, this is the best way to let us know. We hope to see you again next week, because we have such sights to show you. Plenty of Horr-Gasms for you to experience.
Later.
Bye!